Welcome to Financial Ginger. You already know who I am. Our guest today is Jenna White. And I almost said your maiden name.
I know.
Is Jenna White. She grew up here in Utah County, like I did, and is forever tied to the area. She didn't think she would end up working in real estate, but she grew up in a family of builders, and you end up doing what your family does, I suppose, to some degree. I'm the one exception to that rule. Yeah. She loves helping people sell, build, and buy homes. You never really understand how emotional and personal the construction and real estate industry is until you are ready to move or build. Jenna loves being able to help people navigate all the details and emotions, and the people are why she loves the industry. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm excited.
Me too.
I'm excited. It's cool. So I didn't realize that, because the name of the company you worked with was like New Construction Advisors.
New Home Consultants.
New Home Consultants. There we go. I was relatively on
New
point.
homes.
New Home Consultants.
Yeah.
So my brain just assumed that it was like just new construction, right? Like there's some people that specialize in just one thing, but hey, selling, building, and buying. Do you primarily work just with new construction then? Or do you ever deal with other stuff too?
I do other things as well. But I mostly work in new construction. So like you mentioned, it's been a family business. So my dad is a general contractor. He's also a broker. So I hang my license with him.
Oh, nice.
And then I can do outside deals and whatever deals I come across, selling, buying, anything. But then his bread and butter is the new construction. So I sell all of his new construction townhomes. And so that's where my expertise is, I guess you could say. And before I was a real estate agent, I did like construction admin work for his company. So the homes I'm selling now is kind of fun because I did all of the like admin and bidding and things for the construction.
Gotcha.
So it's nice when people ask me a question about the home and the construction of it.
You're like, I know because
I
hired the plumber.
Yes, exactly.
I hired the electrician.
I chose whatever, went in. So
that's cool.
It's nice.
That's so different. That's really different. Because like a lot of people, right, they go and represent a really big brand. Like I've had one of the reps from DR Horton on. I've had one of the reps from Edge Homes on, right? And they're a very big box. Well, both those are very big box. Right. But so like your dad kind of does his own little thing in small tracts. And then I don't know if this is the right way to describe it, but I would describe what you were doing, like admin work, as like a superintendent. Is that kind of like a similar or different?
Connected, I guess you could say. So it's a family company. So my dad's the builder and owner. My grandpa's actually the superintendent, which is so fun. So I talk to him every day. And then I'm the agent and I was like the office admin. So there's a position in construction. Usually they call it like a purchasing agent or
seller's agent, buyer's agent.
Or like a bidding coordinator. So I would essentially like send the plans out and go through all of the bids and make sure everything got in there, obviously with the expertise of somebody who has a construction management degree, but make sure all of the pieces made it in and then send out the contracts. And then the superintendent just like supervises in the field. So I didn't do as much field work, but I was really in the plans, in the paper, and all of the details and everything there. So,
that's cool, getting to like build on previous builds and improve. And you reuse reuse floor plans that are popular, or just like slightly modify them or whatnot.
Yeah, for this one, we copied a floor plan. Our architect or our drafter was S.W. Morgan. He's great. And he had these floor plans that we liked from another community that we didn't build, but he had helped with, I believe. And then we like adapted them to our needs. So everybody loves them. So
one of my favorite things about doing this podcast, Jenna and I have known each other for a long time. We used to compete ballroom dance against each other 15 years ago.
Oh gosh, probably
16 years ago.
2026 now? Yeah,
at least 16. Yeah. Anyways, but like this is stuff I didn't even know about you, right? Like I had no idea your family was involved in construction, right? Like it's cool. It's cool to see the expertise that people have. And that's one of my little selfish reasons why I like doing this podcast. I get to reconnect and be like, whoa, you're so cool. This is so cool.
Oh, thanks.
Like this is stuff I had no idea about, but okay. A few questions I had.
Yes.
So it sounds like you reluctantly ended up working in real estate.
Kind of. Yeah.
Tell me a little about that.
So I got my degree in human development, which is very far, far away from construction management.
I mean, similar,
or real
right?
estate. Yeah. I mean, honestly, my degree in human development has helped so much with just understanding people and being able to talk to people and relate to people, which is obviously very applicable in real estate. But the degree itself leads more into like therapy or like child development and things like that. So got my degree there. I was working for doTERRA, actually. Loved that job in their sourcing team. So I was like, maybe I need to go get a master's in procurement and like sourcing.
Oh.
And so started to kind of look that direction. And then my dad approached me and said, hey, I'm building these homes. And if you want to get your license and sell, like you can come work for me. I loved my job at doTERRA, but it was very stressful and like very, like we were understaffed at the time. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna jump over here. I think this is a little bit more flexible and I'm gonna do this because I'm also gonna be moving to Virginia, or well, I didn't know Virginia, but out of the state when my husband goes to school. So it all just kind of fell into place. So I did, it wasn't like reluctant, I would say, but it was very unexpected.
Unexpected. Okay.
Yeah, totally unexpected. But it has worked so well because as an agent, you can like pause your license and put it on inactive status and then reactivate it. So when I was doing more of the construction management, I would just put my license on pause and do that. And then when we moved, I was doing a lot more of that and I was training agents.
Oh,
and then when I came back, then I just reactivated it and was able to just like pick up where I left off. So
oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
It was a very
Not
roundabout way to get where I'm at now.
Yeah. Well, it's fascinating to me because the human development and right, you're sharing about your degree there.
Yeah.
The most important part of any business interaction is the personal relationship, right? Like you have to trust people and you have to know how to help people understand what's important. So I think it's really cool that you're involved. You know, it hits close to my heart because my wife's a therapist.
Okay.
And my mom was a degrry. I mean, they didn't have the degree at the time. Like she was kind of like communications and then like human and family sciences or something. So she got like a dual major.
Cool.
But like she grew up working with kids that were like autistic and things like that, like both in church and in the community and so like I think it's really cool the different areas of human communication. Anyways, just bringing that up briefly. So how you mentioned that it's really helpful to relate to people. Anything specific like that you frequently utilize from that degree in real estate transactions or working with people?
Yes. So honestly, one reason I also love real estate is I'm able to help people in a way that I feel like I'm good at helping people. So in most industries, when you find fulfillment in your job, it's because you're helping people or you're providing a service or you're doing something that feels fulfilling and you feel of worth and of value, right? So in real estate, being able to use my degree of understanding even just how different people communicate, you know, if they're speaking in this way or communicating these things to me, I can understand their priorities probably lie here. And then I can help guide the conversation in a way that speaks to their priorities. Or if they're looking, you know, in a certain family situation or something that meets their needs, I can sometimes read between the lines and understand a little bit better what they're looking for and be able to help them find what they're looking for. So things like that come up. And then even I had classes like a moral development class, which was my favorite class at BYU. It was just a semester of talking about like, how is morality defined and how do people guide their moral choices and things like that. And I think about that class all the time in every context, but even for myself and like, how do I want to be as a real estate agent, act as a real estate agent, treat other people? How do other people want to be treated? Like things like that. So there's just little things that come in all the time.
That's, yeah. Something you said was really interesting to me, like guiding the conversation and reading between the lines.
Yeah.
Have you ever had, and this is more of just personal curiosity than relevance, I suppose. Have you ever had a situation where like someone's sharing their priorities and you kind of realize they don't want to buy a house? Like maybe I should encourage them to not do this right now. Does that happen?
Yeah, occasionally. I would say mostly because right now I am in a model home. And so most of the people that come in are pretty actively looking. But as I've talked to friends and things who have, you know, put offers on homes or or things like, are you sure about this?
Mhm.
Like, wouldn't it work better, this or that? And I wouldn't say I've necessarily had a client that's done that, just because most of the clients are like coming to me
Yeah.
in a model home setting. So they're usually past that point.
Yeah. They're like already pre-qualified or whatever.
Yeah. But absolutely, I would say sometimes the goals and what everybody feels like is like, I got to get into a house, or I got to do this or that. Like, it doesn't always align. So being able to help people like sort through that, definitely.
Yeah. Well, one thing that's on my mind a lot, and just because I've read it so much from comments on videos I've done, is there is a sentiment of, at least for a lot of younger people, feeling like it's not possible to get into a house, right? Like it's so unaffordable. Like we were talking about it a little bit before we started shooting, right? Like I paid a little over $400,000 for my last property. Some of the new builds that are relatively similar are going for about $600,000 right now. And it's only been 2 years, 2 years later. The first property I bought 5 years ago was similar in size. It's about 600 square feet smaller than my current place, but I only paid $230,000 for that one. Right. But that was right before everything exploded.
Yeah.
Right. Most properties went up like 50% in value between 21 and 22. Like it's just the way Utah has been.
Totally.
So I suppose with that context of it feeling, are there certain like hallmarks you like to use as a guideline of, hey, here's how you can know you're able to or ready to buy a house, or here's some situations where maybe it's not good to buy a house. And just one example before passing up. Sorry, very, very long question. No, I had a friend recently that I encouraged them to, and they were in a position to buy a house, but I encouraged them to keep renting, because it's like, look, you're talking about potentially starting a business where you would be moving out of state, or changing and going to law school, which you would also be going out east. Like, especially in today's market where it would be hard to rent and at least make your and potentially losing money. Because if you sell a property within a year of buying it, you're paying a fee when you buy it, and you're going to pay a fee when you're likely going to lose some money. Like I was telling him, like, it doesn't make sense. You've got the cash to buy a house, but like if you're potentially going to move, once you've made that decision and no, I'm not going to start a business and move to Texas. I'm not going to go to law school out east, or the third option was staying here and doing what they're still doing. It's like, then you can make the decision to buy a house, but I don't know. Yeah.
100%. Well, and it's very interesting because a lot of people, they want to get into real estate to invest, but unless you are in a place where you have the cash to put so much down that it cash flows, or know that you're not going to cash flow for a little while, like it might not be the best choice for you right now. You might need to just invest your money in other ways, or keep renting if you know you can't be in your house for 5 years. And depending on how much you put down, again, if it's going to cash flow when you leave. So there's a lot of, I would say, in that situation, probably not maybe the best to buy a house at the time. And I would say if you're looking to get into a house and be a homeowner, and not thinking about moving states and all these kind of crazy variables, so since basically the 1980s, over every 5 year, if you choose any 5 year span in Utah specifically, like 97.5, I think, % of the time, the housing market has appreciated over the 5 years. So it's not necessarily going to get cheaper to get into a house ever. But if you are in a position where you can do that, I think it's a good thing to get in, because then you can start to build that equity and roll it into other properties later, or your dream home later.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be moving around and have some nuance to your situation, then maybe it's not the best choice. But the thing that's wild is, even in Utah specifically, during like the housing nightmare of 2008 and 2012, like we recovered really quickly. And even if you looked at 2008 to 2012, home prices obviously crashed, but then we recovered really fast. So if you stayed in
within a year,
home, like you're okay. Like it maybe didn't appreciate as much as it would have, but you're not underwater.
Yeah.
So
well, and if you didn't lose your job as well, right? Like it's like you had that consistent mortgage payment. If you didn't lose your source of income, like you were fine.
You're okay. Yeah. As far as housing prices go. So it's wild, but I would say generally, if being a homeowner or having real estate is part of your goal, the sooner that you can get in with a financially stable background, the better. because it's just going to appreciate. It always appreciates, especially in Utah. We're not like as big of a bust and bubble state as others.
Yeah, that's something I've really noticed as well, because I've seen real estate prices go like haywire in some places. Like I've jokingly tried to convince my wife to move to like Alabama or Tennessee. It's never going to happen. We both love Utah. We both grew up in Utah, right? We grew up down the street from each other. We've known each other for 29 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But the weird thing that I noticed from, 5 years ago when I married, like some of these places would go up 50% and you'd be like, why is this rural farmland like so expensive? And then you look back a year later and it's still listed for sale. It didn't sell and it's cheaper than it was before you saw it jump up. It's like, whoa, like, and not that every property does that, but Utah definitely hasn't had that same level. Do you have any thoughts about like why Utah's so different?
I think there's a few things. One is that we have really strong growth in the job market across multiple industries. So there's often demand coming from multiple ends, multiple places that helps it not like ebb and flow as much. And then you've got lots of children being born. So your population has like a steady undergrowth versus just people coming in, because we do both. Get a ton of people moving in anyway, but you also just have a really steady population, or people stay here and grow up
I say
here.
With 3 universities, people come here and then they stay
and
here.
They stay.
Yeah.
So I think there's just always a big influx of people, steady population. And then you've got multiple job sectors that are pretty strong that like support and keep people here.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. Well, because even with how much real estate has been built recently, like prices are still going up. Like a lot of people are like, oh, the demand might slow down, but it's like, no, there's enough people moving in, enough kids that are growing up, enough family members. Because so my story, I was actually born in California.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was born in Corona, everyone's favorite buzzword for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
But my family moved to Utah when I was 4 months old. So like I'm by no means a Californian. I'm a Californian in name only. So instead of a rhino, I'm a sino, right? California in name only. Awesome. And when we moved here, we were the only ones, either side of my family, that lived in Utah. Right. And my mom comes from a family with 9 kids. So it's a big family. I have over 40 cousins. Like I think I've got 46 or something like that, on both sides. Right. So big families. And my mom actually was born in Utah too. Only one, all of her siblings were born in Idaho. But over time, like as I grew up, a bunch of my mom's family moved to Utah and a bunch of my dad's family moved to Utah. So now most of us live in Utah. There's like 1 or 2 that live up in like Idaho and Montana. And there's one that lives out east. But other than that, like all of both sides live here in Utah now. Right. And I think that's becoming more and more common for a lot of people, where they're like, oh yeah, we moved here and all of our family from out west or out east has joined us over time, because Utah's got a strong job market. And okay, that makes sense for real estate and why it's been stable. Because I've always wondered that myself, because we haven't had as crazy of ups and downs. Like we've pulled back a little bit in the last year. Like one of my properties I had, like the company that I bought it from, like sends me a report like every couple of months. And they're like, hey, just FYI, if you want to sell or refinance. And I'm like, I don't, but they think it's worth a little bit less than it was like a year ago. And I'm like, oh, interesting. So like I've seen a little bit of that, but
interesting.
Yeah. Location matters.
That's true.
Okay.
It does.
So growing up around construction and working in a little bit yourself, what are some, I don't know, I want to like give the audience useful tips. Like what are some things that you probably know that other real estate agents might not know that would be interesting for people to know about new build or?
Yeah. I think this is becoming more well known, but you should always get an outside inspection on a new home because there are just things that get missed sometimes. And even like we build to a very high standard, and I'm going to brag for a sec. Like I've had inspectors tell me like, these are the most well-built homes, new construction that I have seen in a long time.
Dang.
Like we really take a lot of pride in how well the homes are built. But like sometimes things get missed. Like randomly on one of our homes, the insulators came in, did a 6-plex and missed blowing insulation into the attic of one of the homes. Like they went to lunch or something and forgot where they were. I don't know. But like the inspector caught it and we're like, absolutely, we're going to fix that, you know? So you should always get an inspection on a new construction home. The other thing is that people forget that homes are handmade. Like pretty much everything in the home a lot of it is hand cut, hand installed. The drywall is hand done with plaster. Painter, it's obviously sprayed, but cabinets can come out of a factory, but they're hand installed. Like everything is done by hand. And people forget that when they're walking through a new construction home sometimes, and they see teeny tiny little things. And it's like, that is like not something that is like, obviously dings and scratches, like those are an issue, but like appreciate the artisan quality of your home and that it's handmade. All the trim is hand cut, hand placed, hand caulked, like hand painted. And some people can start to like lose the beauty of that. Now, there's a difference between like shoddy work, right? And it being hand done and done well. But it's hard when a lot of the things we see now are like factory produced and, you know, machine made, that seeing beauty and workmanship and craftsmanship in a home, I think is hard for people who have never walked through a new construction home before. So there's a lot of, you know, people will look at the texture in the walls and be like, well, it's not like perfectly
uniform.
Even. Yeah, uniform. It's like, well, it's not supposed to be. It's like, it's art essentially, you know, like it's supposed to look this way. And then I'll get a contractor or somebody who is in the industry that walks through and will be like, wow, this is beautiful. Thank you for recognizing that. So I would say too, like in new construction, being able to tell so getting back to the heart of the question, like for me, being able to tell like what is poor workmanship versus what is like, oh, it's handmade and like it was hand installed. Those are things that I feel like I have a better understanding of than some other agents, or what kind of issues are like scary and red flags versus like, that is very easily fixable.
Yeah, that's a minor inconvenience. Yes, we'll come in and fix it.
Yeah. Like, okay, we missed insulation here. Like, we'll come in and blow it in. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Or like me, I had a new build that I bought about a year and a half ago. And a few things that were really weird that, right? It's just like, yeah, this was probably missed. All of the outlets in the master bedroom weren't grounded.
They weren't grounded. I thought you said rounded.
Grounded.
Yeah. Okay. That's really scary, but easily fixable.
Yeah. Easily fixable, right? Yeah. Easily testable. And it's like, yeah, like it's probably like that. It's like, oh yeah, they forgot to blow the insulation and ceiling. Obviously a big problem, but that's why home inspections should occur. Is it's going to hold the builder accountable.
Yeah.
Or the seller or whatever. It's going to make sure you know the condition better. In fact, I'm actually frustrated because I had one thing that I missed and the inspectors missed and everything that we just discovered recently. And obviously it was a year and a half ago, so it's outside of the builder's warranty. But the AC, where our AC wasn't running perfectly. And we had someone come out to check our HVAC, and the company that installed the line from the exterior AC unit that went to the main system, there was a kink in the copper line and it was causing a pinch. And literally every part of the copper line was wrapped and covered in that black stuff, right? That insulation, except the part that was bent. And I'm like, there's no way that this wasn't that way when the house was built, right? Like you would have had to have hung from this to bend it.
Do that.
I mean, obviously, right. I don't fault the builder. I don't like, obviously it should have been caught. I tried a little bit to work with them, but they're like, look, warranty, right? It's understandable. They don't have unlimited liability for forever, which is why it's important to get a home inspection. And that wasn't too big of a deal. It was a couple $100s for me to get fixed. Good. Obviously that's a frustration. But in my opinion, and you can tell me what you think about this, I think even though people complain about 2x4s are smaller than they used to be back in the 70s and certain build qualities, which are completely understandable. If you prefer that, you can buy older houses, right? Like they do exist. I like buying new build. And I've only ever bought new build. And it's because I think you're less likely to have some of those major problems, right? Like I had one person on where his basement flooded 3 times in the first year of buying an old home. Yeah. Well, the piping was redone in the 90s. As a lot of people know about the 90s, polybutylene was really popular at the time, which is a plastic piping. And they use a modern plastic today that's called PEX, which is totally fine. But polybutylene they discovered afterwards, and it was made illegal to use in the late 90s. Well, not illegal to use, contractors
Not
can't
like
install
up
it.
to
People can
code.
still install it themselves, but contractors generally, at least in Utah, there's some states where apparently it's still legal, but it's known for failing after 10 to 15 years. And that's what happened. It failed
my
3
gosh.
different times right after he bought the house. His basement flooded 3 different times.
Yeah.
Right. And that was a problem with older construction. So they both have it, but yeah, being aware of what you're getting into
Totally.
is really important.
Yeah. And I
think
totally won't argue. Like there are some things about older homes that are probably built better or higher. Or like I heard, was it on your podcast? Somebody was talking about how the wood and the trees, like they were using older timber and it was actually like sturdier timber.
It may have been.
But like there are things like that. Like obviously we can't change.
Yeah, we're growing faster timber now. We're using certain breeds of trees and you see the rings are closer together, which is less structurally strong compared to when you were first out here building, right? In the early night, you built something at someone's house, they're built of wood and they're chopping 100-year-old trees and the rings are so much bigger because they weren't grown the same way we grow them now. And yes, that lumber is,
I'm sure
and
factors.
2x4s used to be bigger.
Yes.
Like you look at that lumber from the 70s and it was almost 2x4. And nowadays we usually do it smaller because then if you're trying to fill a 2x4 space, which I understand the reasoning for it, but it's obviously different than it was 50 years ago.
Yes. But like in the long run, when you overall look at a house, like, is it significantly going to impact your day-to-day life? Like probably not. You might not want your basement to flood. You know? Like the new construction might, be better for some. It is better, I think, in a lot of respects, but
it's different, or it's just newer, so you have more time before things are going to go wrong, right? When you buy an older house, I have people that buy older houses and they're trying to get insurance, and the insurance is upset because the roof sold, right? And they're like, "We want you to have a newer roof." Okay, well, you have to negotiate that with a seller. That's an opportunity for a real estate agent to come in and negotiate something. Or maybe there's radon problems, right? Yes. My brother and sister bought a house that was over 100 years old and they couldn't get the loan until the radon was fixed. They're like, we get that people have been living this for 100 years, but it's unacceptably high radon levels that can cause problems or cancer or whatever. Yeah. So there's problems all around. So you got to pick your poison. And if you like the old builds, go for the old builds. If you like the new builds, go for the new builds. Yeah. Sometimes it depends on where you're at, right? Yeah. If you're in New York, there's probably less new builds available.
Totally. Yeah. Or but in Utah, Provo, it is so hard to find new construction in Provo. So
yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Your guys' new builds, you said were in Linden, right? Linden. Yeah. It's a great place.
It is a great place.
I love Linden and Pleasant Grove. Yeah. I think they're great places. I'm fascinated because in American Fork, there's so much new build on the south side of the freeway, like close to the lake. And some of those houses are gorgeous and the views are great too. I'm like, I want one of those. But anyways,
it's just exploding.
Yeah, it's fun. Utah's crazy. And no one wants to sell their houses.
I know.
Okay. I should move on to another thing because we are running out of time. Okay. So in your intro, you talked about helping people navigate the emotional side of construction. When do people usually realize how emotional the buying and building process looks like? And I don't know, what are some ways you've had to help people back away from the cliff?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it comes in waves for most people. So there's an initial wave of like emotion and almost panic or anxiety, like when you sign everything away, like you're signing to signing. Like I've helped with a few custom homes that South Haven Homes has done as well. And like when they sign to start, they're like, oh my gosh, like, are we really doing this? And I'm helping people like, it's okay. I know that you don't do this very often, but I do this every day. And like, it's truly going to be okay. When you do something for the first time or maybe the only time in your life, that can be a very big, like, oh my gosh, like, do I need a sign? Do I need like, people are looking for some sort of reassurance. And sometimes it's as easy as me saying like, look, I do this every day. You've gone through your due diligence, your checklist, like you felt good about it. Like, let's go ahead and sign. And then you usually have like a grace period or something to like.
To back
breathe.
out if you do decide.
And back out. So I feel like that's kind of an initial wave that I see of emotion. And then as you get into, if you're doing, especially a custom home, like you never thought about having to choose the color of your hinges and like choose every little thing in the house. And that just gets stressful, especially if you have a partner or other family member that you're building with and everybody has to agree on everything before it moves forward. Like, that is just a nightmare sometimes. And so a lot of times it's like being the person who's like, let me simplify this for you. Like, here are your options. Or a lot of times when people get frustrated in any real estate transaction is because everything just seems to like pile And then they're like, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't even know where to start, where to end, what I need to decide next. And so as an agent, I can come in and say like, okay, this is really the only important thing that you need to decide right now. And here's your options. And like, let's work through this. And is it more important to you to have X or Y, or is it more important for you to have X or Y? Because this is really important to your partner and this is really important to you. So like, where can we compromise? So sometimes just being the person to like break things down and simplify. And then obviously at closing, when you're getting ready to finalize and move in and everything, especially with not new construction, if you're just buying a house, like making sure that things stay good between the buyer and seller throughout the duration of the contract is really important. And I think a lot of people don't realize that a lot of deals fall through because sometimes buyers and sellers just like get so mad at each other that they're not willing to budge, you know? And so as an agent, being able to say like, hey, well, they want to do their final walkthrough, you know, the day before you move out. I know it's going to be a mess, but like, they don't care. It's okay. Like just, you know, or they moved this or that and it's okay. Like it's not pertinent to the transaction. Like the home value is still the same or this and that. It wasn't in the contract. Like just being able to mediate a little bit.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's kind of those 3 waves of emotion and helping people work through them. So, and I enjoy it. I don't know, maybe in the same way that like a therapist enjoys working with their clients. Like not that we enjoy the problems, but I enjoy being the solution. So, yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Cause I think some people like that's their least favorite part of real estate is like, oh man, I hate dealing with like people that are, but it's like, I think it's cool that you realize this is real and these are your emotions. And I really like that mindset because there's many people I know that like don't have that. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is the worst. Is like, why are people so flaky or why is this? I'm like, it's because it's real. They're moving across the country or they're buying a home or they've never bought a home before and they're renting or like, right. Like that's a real emotion, you know, like when I bought my first place, it was scary. And then when I moved and I was like, oh, can I keep my house and rent it? Oh my gosh, I can't. And I was so scared. I'm like, I don't know how to get a tenant. I've never done that before. Right. So I found a professional that all they did was, well, they manage rental properties, but they just also helped with tenant placement. That was it. I'm like, that's nice. So I was able to get them to just help me find a tenant and it was great. It was awesome. And I'm like, okay. And then I felt more comfortable the next time I needed to find a tenant and I did it myself. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I was able to use some of the contracts that they had supplied and all. Yes. Right. And I'm like, I don't know how to write a contract. I don't know how to put in there that they need to change the air filters, you know, like all those, they need to take care of a yard. Well, I mean, my place didn't have a yard, but so there's reasonable stress for everyone involved, whether you're buying or selling or renting and signing a contract or like, so it's cool that you like to navigate that with people. Yeah. It's fun.
Well, I mean, because the more context you have, like once you had a tenant and you saw how it went, it's like, well, now I have more context for my getting a next tenant. Like it doesn't have to be the perfect renter or the perfect, like to be a good tenant. Or it doesn't have to be perfect XYZ for my house to be okay. Cause you know, I just closed a house in Orem. And one of the things that I noticed with this seller that I was working with is she would just constantly like, she'd be worried about something, but then she'd be like, well, but what do you see? Like, what do you normally see? And I would tell her like, oh, this is totally normal. She'd be like, oh, okay. You know, it's like, oh, okay. This situation like happens all the time. So it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. So kind of that makes sense. Or people that like expect old construction to be pristine condition, like new builds. And it's like, look, this house was built 50 years ago. There's some things that are going to be not perfect here.
Right.
Okay. I'm trying to think about a better way to phrase the question. I wrote it down really quickly. So the question that I wrote down was what's like a lie that people believe about buying a home, but I don't know if that's the best question to ask, but I'm just going to leave it there. Like what are some of the, I don't know, what are some of the things maybe you've worked with recently where people are like believing something that they need to change to properly buy a house, or maybe they're valid, but like there's a better way to think about it, or I don't know, do you know what I'm asking?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say that maybe this isn't going to go in the direction you thought, but a lot of times when you're looking at what you can afford or how you're going to make your payment work, the best situation might be different than what you are seeing as you do your own calculations. Meaning, go talk with a lender. Like I have great lenders if you need a recommendation, but they just know so well all of the rates and all of the different types of mortgages and everything, and they can tell you exactly what might be the best situation for you. So an example to illustrate is that in Utah, obviously, we have the new construction. I forgot the official name, but if you buy a new construction home under 450, you get like the grant.
Oh, yeah, that grant program.
The grant program. So,
or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I actually don't know the official name, but 450,000. So we dropped some of our new construction townhome prices to 450 to meet, so
That
we could
requirement.
help. Yeah, with getting people in. And time again, we would get somebody interested. They come in, they go meet with our lender. He's talking through their priorities, their down payment, their credit, blah, 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 everything that goes into a mortgage. And he's like, look, it's actually better if you just do a conventional loan or do this and that. Like, you don't need the grant.
Interesting.
And it works out better for you without the grant. And so, like, have some goals and educate yourself, but go talk to a professional in the field, whether you're worried about your home insurance. Obviously, you would be the person to talk to for that. If you have questions about the market, go talk to an agent. If you have questions about your lending and your financial ability to get into a house, go talk to a lender.
Yeah.
Like, ChatGPT is great, but like, go talk to a professional who isn't going to lead you astray, because they will know what the best way to meet your goals.
Yeah. Well, they'll tell you what the hallmark is.
Yes.
Yeah. That totally makes sense. Because someone's like, oh, I think I need this much money to buy a house, and I need to have this much income because this will be my down payment. And this will be what my monthly mortgage payment is. And then they were like, oh, I forgot, I'm buying a townhome. There's an HOA fee.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
Like, shoot.
Right? Or you talk to the lender and it's like, oh, interest rates are actually better than you think. And there's an incentive program. And FHA does this because you're a first time home buyer or whatnot.
And
it's like
credit. So you actually get this, right?
Yeah. And suddenly you're like, oh, wait, that mortgage payment's $400 a month less than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, oh, wait, it's more. Or what I really like about some lenders is they don't expect that you're ready to go right now.
Exactly.
A lot of loan officers will be like, I'll talk to someone 4 times over a couple of years before they're ready.
Yes.
But if you're ready, they'll be like, here's what you need to know you're ready, right? Like, oh, you're doing fine on this area, this area, this area. Or they'll be like, they'll look at your tax returns and they'll be like, your income needs to show this. Like, it needs to be $5,000 higher to qualify for what you're thinking you want or whatever.
Yes.
Like, they'll tell you, or they're like, oh, if you want to buy in this price range, your down payment needs to be this. You're here right now.
Exactly.
Or you can buy less home, right? Or like, they'll tell you where it's at, and then you can be prepared, or you can make a financial game plan with your spouse or whatever your situation is to get to where you're ready. And then you can be confident. That's what I like people is like, I like when someone's confident.
Yes.
And you're going to get confident by asking the professionals. Or well, like you said earlier about insurance, tooting my own horn, but a lot of people don't realize that new construction is so much cheaper on the insurance side.
Yes.
Well, one of my carriers I work with, their new home discount is 56%.
Wow.
So
oh my gosh.
Bear River does that.
Okay.
So a lot of people for new homes, they're expecting, okay, my loan officer's putting in $1,800 that's $150 a month for my home insurance. I had a guy the other day that it was like a $1.3 million property. And again, this is not normal.
Sure.
This was a very rare exception.
Example.
The place, location, it was like half a mile from a fire department. There was all these things that were going for it. And it was brand new construction. It was like $654 a year.
That's
right?
wild.
Like, I know homes that are $300,000 that the insurance is more expensive than that, right? Like most home rates.
You never know until you ask.
You don't know until you ask. So if it's like, oh no, we think we can get into this dream property that we've been saving up for a couple of years for, and it's barely more expensive than we can afford. Get a second opinion on the insurance. Get a second opinion on the loan programs. Get a second, right? Like, I've had situations where some people will go to 3 different lenders even to get estimates. Yeah. And then they and obviously you should do it close to each other, because if they're all pulling your credit, that can be things.
But
so
if you do it
obviously
close,
you do them all close within like a week of each other, and they'll give you 3 different rates because they have their own assumptions they make, and some of them talk to you differently, or they're used to the way they're doing things. Like, get a couple of opinions. I even tell people that get quotes from me, go get quotes from a few other people. Yeah. You might be able to, or here's a really weird situation I had recently. I had a lender that they didn't like the insurance policy I did. It was an old home. It was like 70, 80 years old. They didn't like because the roof was also like 40 years old. And I had to do an actual cash value endorsement on the roof. I explained it to the buyer. I'm like, you only have 10% of coverage for a wind or hail claim to the roof. They're like, we're going to replace the roof within a couple of years moving in. We'll just accept that we have limited coverage. Well, the type of loan program they were in wouldn't accept that because, right, they're like, well, the asset we're paying for is not properly insured. Right. They don't want the roof to only be covered 10%. Right. So I actually worked with them and said, why don't we bind with the higher amount? Because they were still able to afford the home payment with the higher amount.
Okay.
And then wait, the lender required the insurance and they only checked twice. We've heard they checked twice, 30 days and 60 days afterwards that the insurance is right. Like, so let's wait 60 days, get the insurance
reinsure.
and then change the insurance over after their requirement. And the client was aware and knew what they were choosing, right? It was annoying because the other insurance policy was like over $4,000 a year, right? Because it was a 40-year-old roof, right?
Yeah.
And insurance companies in Utah right now do not want to insure old roofs. And it's fine. There's carriers that will do it. It's like, but would you rather have a $2,000 policy or a $4,000 policy? So, right. Just asking questions. What are my options?
Yes.
I love when people ask me that. Like, what options? How can I get around this? Or what are ways we can do it? And then as long as you're able to make an educated decision, hey, I recognize I'm not properly insuring the roof.
Right.
But I'm going to replace the roof. Right. Like, and not just because I've had people come and they're like, oh, my agent told me I could do this. I'm like, did they explain this to you?
Right.
Right. It's like, yeah, that works. Right.
But
like,
only if you know what you're getting into.
Yeah. Or, hey, that might be great. You're getting into a home now because you're taking an ARM instead of a normal loan. But you do realize in 3 years, your interest rate is likely going to go up and your payment's going to go up. What? I didn't check. Like, so ask, get people that, anyways, I'm ranting, but
no, but yeah, that's why you want to talk to the professionals and have the homeowner be able to understand what's going on. Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. And Jenna's a professional. She's the one
to help you.
It's cool until your husband gets so busy with his orthodontics office that you retire.
Yes. Yeah.
Ooh, retire.
Yeah.
Okay. One last question and then we should probably wrap up. I'm trying to think what's the most exciting question I've gotten here.
I'm ready.
I put like 35 questions in a list.
That's
I should ask about human stuff. I like stories. So maybe I'll ask if there's a story you want to share. Any interesting stories where you've helped someone buy or helped them make a decision to delay because they're not ready or dealt with a weird situation when buying where it's like, maybe we should back out of this deal. Or I don't know. I love stories.
Yeah. Let me think. So especially because my experience has been mostly in, again, the new construction, and I'm kind of like part of a model home agent and then part outside agent. So most of my experience is in that model home. But I would say, well, not currently, but recently, there was a buyer that didn't realize that she hadn't filed her tax returns for a long time, and she went under contract for a house. And so the lender was like, hey, luckily it was right at the beginning, but the lender was like, hey, like, you realize, like, we have to have this obviously to send your loan through underwriting and get you all like, I can't even pre-qualify you because you don't have tax returns.
How did she go under contract before she'd even gotten through?
It depends on
pre-approval.
Sometimes people will let you go under contract without a pre-approval, and then they require it within 7 days.
That's wild.
So the lender was like she was a 1099, and so she was supposed to, be doing her taxes like on her own. And anyway, so
and you need 2 years of tax returns if you're 1099. I've been through this more than I care for.
I know it's such a pain, but. The last 3 years she's like, I don't have tax returns.
Oh my gosh, how do you not file taxes?
So luckily the lender like set her up with like, okay, here's a tax attorney and like, let's get you going and let's get you. But I would say that's probably like the most interesting buying situation I've been in. Where
did it work out?
Yeah, it worked out.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
It's like she went under contract, but she had like no
tax returns for the last 3 years. My gosh.
But
that's cool. That was possible though.
Yeah. Well, she got everything filed and like got it all
and
squared away.
Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine the penalties for not having paid, especially if you owed.
I know. So I don't actually know what happened on that end.
Yeah.
But
either way, the real estate transaction went through.
Was fine. So yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's I just want to ask one other thing, and maybe there is another story you want to share. If a lot of people feel like they need a lot of money down, we mentioned that near the beginning. Are people still able to do low? Because I've heard some people talk about like zero money down programs or 3.5% or whatnot. Like, are you seeing less and less people that are able to do a 3.5% program, or like?
No,
I don't know. This is an ethereal question.
Yeah, not necessarily. I would say, especially if you still qualify for like a low money down, it depends on what your goals are, right? Yeah. So if you don't have a lot of cash in the bank to throw down at a down payment, but you can make the monthly payments, then that might be a really good situation for you, because even in a couple more years, you might be able to like build up your savings a little bit more. So I wouldn't necessarily say that I don't see a lot of people being able to do that. And you know, on the flip side, you don't have to have a lot of cash to get into a home. If you want it to cash flow immediately as an investment property, you're probably going to need a lot of cash to get in. But if you have other goals, like it just depends on what your goals are and what your situation is. But like my husband and I, we just moved back from another state. We bounced around forever. So we hadn't even owned a home, and we're going to buy this summer now. And like,
Congrats.
Thank you so much. It's like so funny being a real estate agent, but I bounced around so much. I'm like, the timing didn't work for me to buy a home,
we talked about. So if you're going to move 3 times, probably not a good time to buy a home. I think it's cool when you see a real estate agent that doesn't actually own a home. And it's like, well, here's why. Like, and I feel like they're less incentivized to like force. It's like, hey, I'm willing to tell you shouldn't buy a house right now.
Exactly. So finally buying, and it's, you know, it depends on our goal. Like we've got my husband's business that's starting up. So we don't want to throw all our cash reserves at a huge down payment, because we might need that cash to like flow his business for a while, you know? So we're actually going to go the lower down payment route, because we can make the monthly with my commissions and everything, and his hopefully a little bit of cash flow. But like we might need to push some cash into the practice. So I'm not going to do a huge down payment and like throw it all there when I know we can make a monthly with a lower.
Yeah. Or that cash will be able to float you for a couple of years or whatever the time frame is.
Yeah.
Dang. So has your husband's orthodontics business, has it opened yet?
Not yet. Hopefully beginning of March.
Okay.
So
I was going to say, let's do a shameless plug.
I know. White Orthodontics, Eagle Mountain.
White Orthodontics. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So
that makes sense. Yep. Where is it? Where's
Dr.
the
White.
First office going to open?
It's going to be in Eagle Mountain.
Eagle Mountain.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like deep Eagle Mountain.
Like almost Cedar Fort?
Not quite.
Not that far?
Like city center.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we're really excited.
Awesome.
But
cool.
March.
White Orthodontics. Checked it out. Dr. White.
Yeah. He's great.
That's so cool.
He's
doctor.
Really excited. I know.
Is it fun to say that your husband's a doctor?
It is fun. Yeah. And then they're like, oh my gosh. I'm like, of teeth. But,
hey, it's still a doctor. Have you seen Treasure Planet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, so it's one of my favorite old Disney films. But there's a part where they're basically it's basically Treasure Island retold, right, with pirates and all that.
Okay.
So there's a part where one of the guys, he's a doctor, but he's like a doctor of philosophy. Oh. And so when they get to the planet or the island, there's a part where there's like a standoff, and the pirates shoot one of the people, and she's like bleeding out and dying. And they're like, we need a doctor. It's like, doctor. And he's like, well, I am a doctor, but I'm not that kind of doctor. I'm a doctor that sits there and is useless while people are dying. Like,
that's hilarious.
Anyway, so doctor of
Dr.
teeth.
White. Yeah.
But hey, that's still a very
still an expert in his field, but
that's cool.
Don't come to him if you have like heart problems.
Yeah, exactly. If you're bleeding because you go to the hospital, not to Dr. White, but if you got teeth stuff, that's cool. This is totally irrelevant. Then I'll end. But I got orthodontics when I was 16. I had them for less than a year.
Oh,
so it was like exciting for me. Yeah. I got them on after Christmas before New Year's, and then I got them off before the next Christmas. So I didn't have them for Christmas ever.
That's awesome.
But the year later, I was ice skating and I fell and smashed my teeth. I actually cracked 4 of my teeth, and I didn't get any. None of them have been replaced. One of them I had to get a root canal on because like it died. It sheared in half, like completely. And they actually had to sand part of one of the sides. And every time I go to the dentist now, they're like, you should get a I don't know what it's called, a crown. No, it's these are all my natural teeth.
Really?
But it's turning a little bit yellow. Like if you zoom in on the camera, pause the YouTube video and then zoom, you'll see one of my front teeth is like super yellow because it's dead. And but I'm just like, I don't know, I'm fine with my natural, but it's annoying because it messed up my like my teeth all started shifting because I smashed my face. I fell on ice. Yeah. But anyways, that's besides. I'm just excited. I like orthodontics. I love teeth. I think that they're fascinating, and I think anyways, I love dentists and all that too. So, but totally besides the point. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
If people want to find you, get a hold of you, how can people find you?
So, my website is, or honestly, text or call me. So my website is a Wix site. So it's like jenna.homesales.wixsite/home.
It'll be in the description.
Just go to there.
Yeah.
And then my phone number is 385-323-1293. And I text call. And honestly, that's the easiest. Like if you're a realtor and you're not answering your phone, like that is step one. So I always try to answer and respond.
Well, that's my whole thing. I usually start my podcast with saying I'm the insurance agent that's known for answering his phone. And I've had some people like, isn't that the bare minimum? And I'm like, you would think it's the bare minimum, but there are real estate agents that like don't answer their phone. There are there are people that call me and they're like, I've been trying to add a car to my insurance for 3 weeks and my agent just won't get back to me. Like, I'm not letting my son drive this car because I'm not sure it's insured or not. And I'm like, I got you. Like,
so many problems can be solved by
just answering the phone. Yes. Yeah. Anyways, well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, the listener. I'm saying thank you guys. Thank you so much, Jenna, for coming out, especially with such short notice. I know you like sent me all this preparation and I never messaged you back, but you're awesome. So thanks for being on.
I'm so grateful to be here. So thanks for having me.